Now, this was a total I really did not expect to see really anytime soon, certainly not least before the Olympics. For those of you who don't know, Lasha just posted videos going 225 in the snatch, 270 in the clean and jerk. That's a 495 kilo total. These are the heaviest snatches and cleans and jerks really that we've ever seen on camera. We've seen a 270 jerk before, not after a clean. We've never even seen a 270 clean before. We've never seen 4 reds with proper competition collars on in the snatch either. So this is one of the most insane things anyone has ever done with a barbell in hand. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to watch these videos. I only watched them once and then I set up really frantically and quickly. That's why I'm here. I'm about to record a podcast and I just figured I'd do this video quickly. So basically just go through the lifts, then talk a little bit about some lifts that might compare historically, compare it to a couple of the best Sinclairs ever by snatch, by clean jerk, and by total, and then sign out. Okay, so first thing, I'm just going to watch the 225. Bear in mind, we've seen 216 in competition by 3 other lifters now. Krastev, Salimi, Gormanasian. Oh, wow. Wow. So this lift looks just as comfortable as this 222. Bear in mind, he just hit 222 in competition. That's 6 kilos above anything that anyone else has ever hit. Let's just watch this again. Oh, he just pulls it so high. I'm sorry. I'm going to have to go frame by frame on this. Or as frame by frame as it's possible to do on a QuickTime video. So for a longer limbed person, it's always impressive how low he sets his hips, how much he uses his legs in the start of the pull. Back angle is totally unchanged, just not phased at all by the fact that he's got 4 pounds under 500 pounds in a snatch grip. One full position, still flat footed. Transition, knees come forward, strong power position. Unlike a lot of the current modern lifters, he does stay flat footed in this power position. And actually, when you freeze him here, you realize how, obviously he's collar to collar, but for him, because he's so big, it's actually somewhat of a narrow position to be holding the bar. Unbelievable. Okay, and then one more time through for good measure. I just can't believe how effortless that lift looked. Okay, let's do the clean and jerk now. So this 270, like I mentioned before, and we'll watch some of these videos later, the heaviest clean and jerk ever in competition is 266. Lasha hasn't yet done that. He hasn't beaten Taranenko's 266. We did see him do 267 in training back in 2018, just prior to the European Championships. 2 years later, now we have 270. This is like a bit of a mythical lift here. He's 2 kilos off 500 pounds and 600 pounds at this point. Ooh. Okay, so that's just absolutely fantastic to see. I mean, the clean is as effortless as you'd imagine. He's got the pull of someone who can pull 225 kilos in the snatch, so obviously the clean's going to be there in the pull to stand up just as easy as always. And then that jerk, it's always, I mean, the jerk has always been the thing that's held him back in competition. We've never actually seen him miss a jerk in competition, except back when he was about 16 years old. But since at least he became world champion in 2015, we've never seen him miss a jerk, either in competition or in training. He did say in that interview with Tarokti that it was the jerk, or it might have been his coach, Asanidze, either of them mentioned that it was the jerk that was the thing that he needed to work on the most before he really attempted 500 kilos as a total in competition. But I mean, this is 495 and there's only 5 kilos to be found. Definitely there's a couple more kilos in the snatch. Maybe there's a couple more kilos in the clean and jerk too. So let's frame by frame it again. Incredibly slow, incredibly low hip start. Strong power position, flat footed again here. Look how high this man pulls, 270 kilos. Meets it just above parallel, gives him enough room to absorb the weight and actually catch some kind of stretch reflex, bounce out the hole, comes up very fast, almost accelerates through where most people would actually get stuck in a clean position. So feet already planted at this point. So at this point it's just a pushing more with the arms, bending more with the legs, getting the head in front, Great lockout. There's no denying it's a good lift. The elbows are exceedingly faithful, loyal elbows in this video, which is nice. He does have to run it out, but again, I can't... competition platform, right? So it counts if it was in a competition, even if it doesn't in the gym, but it does. Okay, one more time, just full speed for good luck. My God. I mean, I don't know if we truly realize what we're witnessing here. This is just staggering stuff. So we've actually seen twice in history prior to Lasha 270 kilos go above someone's head. Once from the front in Artem Udichen, he's a Ukrainian super heavyweight, and then once from behind from Kokhlaev, who was a Russian super heavyweight. So let's start with the least impressive, which is behind the neck, and then we'll check out the only other from the front jerk ever on film. So this is Kokhlaev's 270. He was an exceptionally strong super heavyweight. Wow, there we go. I think he might have done this at some sort of seminar as well, essentially after his lifting career was really over. Let's watch Artem Udichen. What I love about this video from Udichen is that he doesn't stop. Like, at this point, he's just walking towards the bar. He just walks through it, unracks it. Okay, maybe he pauses briefly. And then once he's got it overhead, he just pauses and just like, just yells. Amazing. What's exceptional about Udichen as well is just how deep he gets that back leg and how little he really splits. Huge oscillation. And then look, back leg and front leg do not split far, but that back knee is at that's almost at a 90-degree angle, that back knee. Amazing. Of course, the heaviest snatch we've ever seen from anyone else. We've seen the 216s in competition. We saw 220 from the blocks from Alexei Lovchev. So this was for the longest amount of time, up until 2018, the heaviest snatch we'd ever seen on film, until Lasha did it in competition. Let's just watch that again. Doesn't pull it so high, just fiendishly fast under the bar. Tremendous depth as well for a super of his stature. And then, for those of you who don't know, the heaviest clean and jerk attempt ever was actually heavier than what we've just seen Lasha do. 272.5 kilos by Andrei Chemyrkin, one of the heaviest supers ever. Again, a super from Russia, and he needed this for the win. So this was 601 pounds, this attempt. And pulls it high, but it's nothing quite like what Lasha is capable of doing. So this is the Sydney Olympics 2000, which, if you haven't seen it, is one of the greatest battles ever at super heavyweight. There were 3, maybe 4 athletes who hit 260. I think there were 3 athletes who hit 260 or more, which you've never seen before or since. So as we can see, it was high enough, but he wasn't fast enough. Great extension, keeps pulling, and there, just this position, that's where his elbows need to keep going forward, but they don't. And part of that is Chemyrkin had a real problem in his rack position. I mean, he literally couldn't touch the bar to his shoulders until he had at least 240 kilos on the bar. So having the balls to do it with 272.5 was maybe one too many for Chemyrkin on that day. So then the final thing I want to do is compare both of these lifts, the 225 and the 270, to the best ever snatch by Sinclair, the best ever clean and jerk by Sinclair. Now, the best ever snatch by Sinclair, which hopefully we'll play here, is Blagoy Blagoev, the Bulgarian 90-kilo weightlifter. Now, he snatched 195 kilos in the 90-kilo weight category. So let that just sink in for a moment. I mean, let's think about the 94-kilo category. That was Kaki hit 188, Sarab eventually 189. The current 96-kilo category, Sarab's 186. The 105 category was 200. The 109 category is 200. And here's a 90-kilo weightlifter snatching 195. And that gave Blagoev a Sinclair of 225.58. Lasha's Sinclair is 225 point nothing. So he is 0.58 of a Sinclair off the greatest snatch ever. He hasn't done it in competition. You can't really compare. Blagoev's is still clearly the superior lift. But even so, it's just interesting to see how close we're getting to the greatest ever. And then in the clean and jerk, I'm sure most of you know the greatest clean and jerk ever by Sinclair, which led to the greatest total ever by Sinclair, was from Naim Suleymanoglu, Pocket Hercules. He clean and jerked 190, weighing 59.7 kilos. He was in the 60 kilo category. So that is 10 kilos over triple bodyweight. It's the heaviest over triple bodyweight clean and jerk ever. That gave him a Sinclair in the clean and jerk of 277.76. Lasha's 270 gives him a Sinclair of 270. So he's 7.76 Sinclair points off Naim. The heaviest Sinclair of all time in terms of total, again, Naim Suleymanoglu, the only person to ever pass just the 500 Sinclair barrier. And then we have two other lifters. We have Viktor Solodov and we have Jurek Vardadin. Jurek above Viktor Solodov just slightly, who sit at about 489. If Lasha had done this in competition, he'd be at 495. He'd be the only person who has entered that no man's land, that 11-point gap that no one has been able to get into for 30 years now. And he's actually on his way to catching up Naim. If he ever totals 501, he'll have the greatest Sinclair of all time. Until then, there's always going to be some debate as to who's the greatest ever. In my opinion, at this point, it's going to be Lasha Talakhadze. I think he's the only person who's potentially ever going to get 4 gold medals at the Olympic Games. Obviously, he's going to get one in a few months' time. Then it's only 3 years until Paris 2024. Then he's going to have to hold off another 4 years and try and get 2028 too. It's definitely possible. It seems like he's the only one who can do it. Lasha Talakhadze, 225, 270. Let me know down below when you think he's going to hit 500.